veins of the heroin addict who stole it. I'm involved in crime. I pull up to a service station. It's not as true today as it was because they got all the automatic stuff out there. But the sign out there says, please pay before pumping, and you got to go inside in order to get it. And here's what psychiatrist Max Levine says. There cannot be emotional health in the absence of high moral standards and a sense of social responsibility. It all goes together. Now, there's some good news that goes along with all of these. And the good news is very simply this. The way you change the picture, and the best news I can give you or anybody else, is that you already have every single one of the qualities we've identified. As you listen to this in your car, you've already got every one of them. Ziegler, are you serious? I've got all of them. Man, you got to be kidding me. If I had all those qualities, I wouldn't be listening to you. Hey, I'd be up there making the talk and you'd be listening to me. Well, all right, now let's take an honest evaluation and let's just look at a few of them. Let's look at the first one, which is honesty. Are you going to tell me there's not an honest bone in your body, that you're so crooked that when you die they're going to have to screw you in the ground? Are you going to say, hard worker, me? No way, man, I wouldn't hit a lick at a snake. Now, as you go down the list, you will discover that you have got the seed of every one of them. Now, you're terribly, terribly weak in many of them. All of us are. That's the reason repetition is so important. It's the story of the Chinese bamboo tree. They plant the seed, they water it, and they fertilize it, and nothing happens the first year. The second year, they water it and they fertilize it, and nothing happens. The third year, they water it and they fertilize it, and nothing happens. The fourth year, they water it and they fertilize it, and nothing happens. The fifth year, they water it and they fertilize it, and sometimes during the course of the fifth year, in a period of approximately 6 weeks, the Chinese bamboo tree grows 90 feet or thereabouts. But did it go 90 feet in 6 weeks, or was it 90 feet in 5 years? You think about it for a moment, it was 90 feet in 5 years, because had there been any year they did not water it and fertilize it, there would have been no Chinese bamboo tree. 1952, I dreamed the dream that I'm living right now. Someday I'd be a speaker. Took 16 years doing it part-time before I was able to do it full-time. Then it wasn't until I was 45 years old that it absolutely exploded. 20 years I had the dream of a daily newspaper column. 18 months ago, though I'd pursued every course I knew, 18 months ago, because it never was buried, I didn't work on it every day, but I said the right things to the right lady at a seminar in Chicago, Illinois, and a few months later, the syndicated column was launched. What am I saying? I am simply saying that, like the Chinese bamboo tree, it's got to be persistence involved in there. That's one of the qualities. For 16 years, I struggled desperately to get speaking engagement. In the last 23 years, I have not solicited a single engagement. And I have to turn more down than I can accept. One of the reasons is, I believe, is that I've hung in there. How many of you, for example, suspect I've done the seminar that I'm doing today before this one today? Can I see your hand? You know what I do before every seminar, even if I've done it 300, 400, 500 times? I always invest at least 3 hours. And because of this was a recording, I invested something like 20 hours in getting ready for this one. And that's on top of reading the other time that I've been talking about. I'm simply saying to you that it is not easy, but if you're willing to do these things and organize your schedule, then you can take the time to do the other things that you want to do. Hard work is part of the picture. Now, let me tell you why I'm so excited that these things are skills that we've been talking about. You see, since they're skills, they can be taught, they can be learned. That means I got a chance. It means you got a chance. It means that youngster who left the slums this morning without a bite of food to eat, maybe with a kick in the rear. It means he or she has got a chance if somewhere along the way he or she is fortunate enough to meet a Jaime Escalante. Some of you will recognize the name and the movie, Stand and Deliver. An immigrant from Bolivia was teaching in the barrio in Los Angeles, a Mexican community. Drug usage was rampant out there. Crime was high. Teenage pregnancy was bad. A lot of the kids graduated without having an education. And of all things, Escalante comes along and he said, I want to teach these kids advanced calculus, vision, dream, something big, something worthy. The authorities thought he was crazy. He persisted, and 2 years later, they let him start teaching. Despite the fact they were saying, Escalante, these kids have trouble with the multiplication table and you want to teach them advanced calculus. There's no way. 3 years later, 18 of his kids took an examination trying to win a college scholarship that is so difficult to pass the examination that less than 2% of the seniors in America will even attempt it. 18 of his kids attempted it. 18 of his kids passed it. 7 of them had the highest possible score. The authorities knew something was wrong. The kids had to cheat. Nobody does this. Oh, they were furious at Garfield High. The very idea. We know our stuff. They were so mad when they wanted them to take it over. Some of them said, I'll never do it again. And Escalante, along with others, prevailed. Give it a shot. 2 of the 18 accepted. One of them took another college scholarship. Another one decided to go in the service. The other 16 retook it. Every one of them made exactly the same grades they had made their first go-round. And 7 years later, 14 of that 16 were professionals. Doesn't make any difference where you start. It's who you are and where you go. And the neat thing is these are skills right here that can definitely be taught. They can definitely be debated. You see, Escalante had given them hope. Now, I'm going to get into something right now that I'm going to tell you with absolute certainty that if you will do it in 1 week's time, you'll be able to tell the difference. In 2 weeks' time, your family will be able to tell the difference. In 3 weeks' time, anybody who knows you will be able to tell the difference. I'm going to talk to you about talking to yourself. Self-talk. We have a 3-day seminar called Born to Win. People do come from all over the world. Last April the 12th, I got a letter from a gentleman who's a psychiatrist, Dr. Louis Cady. He's also a concert pianist. He's one that gave me some counsel in my book, Over the Top. Well, here's what he said in the letter. The experience of Born to Win was one of a lifetime, and I have already started putting numerous ideas to work. You also, quote, sold me, finally, and despite my thick skull, on using the affirmation card. The results thus far, 5 days, have been almost frightening in their intensity and speed, but in a frighteningly good way. I'm going to tell you this will work. It has worked, is working, and will continue to work in my life. It will work in your life. I'm going to encourage you that tonight when you get home, you get in front of a mirror and you take the card, which is in your set of tapes, and you get in front of the mirror with this card, and we've got it all written out here. You square your shoulders, you look yourself right in the eye, and if you've got a cassette recorder there, record it as you go. You get there and you say, I, Jane Jones, am an honest, intelligent, organized, responsible, committed, teachable person who is sober, loyal, and clearly understands that regardless of who signs my paycheck, I am self-employed. I am an optimistic, punctual, enthusiastic, goal-setting, smart-working self-starter who is a disciplined, focused, dependable, persistent, positive thinker. I am an energetic team player who appreciates the opportunity my company and the free enterprise system offers me. I am thrifty with the company's resources and apply common sense to my daily task. I take honest pride in my competence and appearance and am motivated to be and do my best so that my healthy self-image will remain on solid ground. These are the qualities which enable me to manage myself and help give me employment security in a no-job security world.
Please remember, the message you just heard is copyrighted material and reproduction in any form is prohibited by law and prevented by your integrity.
Now, folks, I don't read minds. Neither does anybody else. But if I could, as you listen to this tape, and those of you in the live audience, I'm going to tell you what's on a lot of your minds right now. Well, now, Zig. I mean, fella, that's a little much. I mean, you're making an awful lot of claims. You expect me to make all of those claims? Why, Zig, even if I've got the seeds, those seeds are awfully small and awfully weak. I'm so weak in most of them, Zig. How could I honestly do that? You can honestly do it because in the book of Joel, Old Testament, the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter and the 10th verse, verbatim, says this. Let the weak say, I am strong. Let me tell you a story. A couple of years ago, I was in Las Vegas. A lady came up to me and she said, Mr. Ziegler, I have 3 daughters. 2 of them honor students, every year honor students. My other one also went to school. Now, she said she was so overwhelmed by the older 2 that she just knew she didn't have a chance. And she bought this philosophy that you're talking about right now. She bought this qualities of success idea. She bought the idea of looking herself in the mirror and claiming these qualities. Mr. Ziegler, I'm here to tell you that last year, by a minute fraction of a point, she beat both of her older sisters. Now, ladies and gentlemen, am I saying this makes you smarter? Absolutely not. But I want you to notice what the qualities are. I'm honest and intelligent, and I'm a hard worker. As she started claiming these, she started seeing herself in that light. She started visualizing. She started thinking better. She started working harder. And yes,